Good morning. It is 7 a.m. on Monday, April 25th, 2016. I'm Christiana Ellis and I have been trying to just get up. This is 5 more minutes. So we had the season 6 premiere of Game of Thrones last night, followed by me and the Beyond the Wall crew did a reaction show. So that had me up a little later than usual. So struggling a little bit this morning to get moving. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. Pretty good start of the season, I thought. But if you are interested in more of my thoughts on that, why not listen to the aforementioned reaction show? And we will have our full episode, of course, on Wednesday. So, yesterday, I think what I'll talk about today is that yesterday I finally finished the audiobook of The Three Body Problem by, I believe the name is pronounced Shishin Liu. It's a Chinese name. I apologize if I'm not getting that right at all. It was really interesting and had a lot of really cool ideas in it, but I sort of felt like most of the way through it, it was slow moving but interesting, and I was feeling like, yeah, okay. I mean, I like the ideas, even though we're kind of moving slowly. I like what's happening here. I like these ideas. I like thinking about this. But then when it gets into like the last 15% of it, the story just shifts in a weird way that feels kind of out of nowhere. And I'm not sure I'm that happy with it. Um, the end is abrupt. I mean, it without so it's not quite this, and I'm not going to spoil the ending or anything, but it's kind of like if you're watching a show where you got the good guys and the bad guys, and they've been kind of in a cold war all season, and then throughout you had a couple of little weird mystery little notes where you're like, I'm not sure how the bad guys would do that, but okay, and it just doesn't seem that all that out of the ordinary. But then, like in the last episode, all of a sudden, oh wait, it turns out that the bad guys were actually not what we thought, and they did a whole other thing that had not been set up at all. And it, okay, this is a terrible analogy. But the point is, I guess, that the entire plot ultimately hinges on something that's really only explained in the last 15% of the book and really had no setup for it before that. So I was a little disappointed there, especially just because it didn't really seem to connect. I don't know. Maybe I need to think about it some more, read some other analysis of it, and see if I'm just missing some angle. So on the whole, I thought it was really interesting. It did win the Hugo Award, and it's interesting. I do enjoy reading science fiction from other cultures. This was a Chinese novel written in Chinese and then translated. So I enjoy that in principle, but yeah, the story kind of fell apart for me at the end, and I'm not really sure why that's the way they went with it. I don't regret having listened to it, but I guess I just sort of felt like the ending was disappointing. Yeah, so that is The Three Body Problem. I listened to it on Audible. I have to say, I think in hindsight, I think reading it in like actual print or ebook rather than audio would have been easier for me, just because obviously all the characters have Chinese names, which is fine, but I don't The problem is, I guess, just the sounds, the shape of the various Chinese names are not as familiar to my ear. And so it's a little bit harder when they're just rattling off a bunch of character names. It's a little bit harder for me to follow who they're talking about. Um, and so, I mean, ultimately it was fine, but that was trickier. And I just imagine that being able to see the word on the page would have, I wouldn't have had that same problem. All right, so I will talk to you guys tomorrow for 5 more minutes.